Hello, so hopefully this stream works because the one that I just did right now did not work for some reason. So hopefully people join back into this stream and they can log in and continue from here. So I'll just give like a few seconds to give everyone a chance to log back into this stream. So let's see. Let's go here. Let's find the link. Live. Let's grab the link. Get a shareable link. Come on. Alright, so this should be working, guys. So let me know when you're in the on the channel for the stream. Hopefully it should be working now, and we can get going with this now. Alright, so this should be working, guys. Just drop a little message. Cool. So I think I'll just get started now. We should be good to go. So let's see. So today we're going to be looking at 4 different animations from some junior animators, animation students and aspiring animators. So it gives me a chance to give feedback to their shots live while you're here. So yeah, it'll be a good opportunity for you guys to just see me giving feedback, and at the same time, you know, see how I can like help them improve their shots as well. Just drop a message to those specific students, and okay, cool. So first come, first serve. Let's see who is in the chat. Oh, we got Mario in the chat. Amazing. How you doing, Mario? You're right. Cool. So I have your shot first. So I'll be looking at the shots in Synchsketch. The first animator we have is Mario. Then I'll be moving on to Ross, and then we have Jack, and then finally I'll be moving on to Peyton. All 3 different cool-looking shots, and yeah, we'll get cracking with this. Oh. No worries, guys, you're welcome. We have Mario, Jack, and we have Ross. Hopefully Peyton's around as well. If you guys could just like tap the like, I would appreciate that, and we'll get cracking with this. Any questions you have, guys, I'll keep my eye on the chat window just to give you guys feedback, so feel free to just message away and let me know what your thoughts are. So like I said, we've got 4 shots. It should be just slightly over an hour to take a look at these, and yeah, I'll start with Mario's shot. Excuse me. Just let me know if there's if it's quite laggy, as in like it doesn't like play in real time, or it's a bit slow, and I'll try to fix that. I don't know how, but I'll try. Yeah, no worries, Ross, you're welcome. Okay, cool. So let's play this. So first things first, it's nice to always take a look at the whole shot and just wrap my... I didn't want to look at the shots before I started the stream. I want to take a look at the same time as you guys. So we all take a look at the shots at the same time. So let's play. So this is Mario's shot, and let's see. So play. Oh, nice. Catches him in the end. What? Cool. Let me see one more time. Nice. Very cool. Okay, so my first thoughts, initial thoughts, is 5, 4, 6. Let me not do red. Red sounds like I'm being, 5, 4, 6 frames is a lot. That to me is like, if you could half that shot. So the shot is great. I like everything that's happening with this guy. It just feels a bit too long. And what I would have thought is if you had the shot maybe around like 277, maybe 300 at the most, like halfway through, rather than having more of the shot and less time for the quality, I would rather shrink the shot and have double the amount of quality if you can. So let's just say, for example, if this is almost 550 frames, maybe I would look at 280, 290 frames, something like that. That way you're doing half the shot, which means the other half that you do, you can spend that time to fill up the first half, like double the quality. So that's the first thing. Number two, when I look at the whole shot, I'm trying to see areas that I can take out. So this is mainly just like to cut the shot out and just like areas that are the most valuable. So that way we can like minimize the time we spend on other stuff. So in the beginning when he's like when he's looking and then it moves, all this stuff is nice. Even that pause and then the real quick, that up until there is great. I think that's your whole key story, like from frame 1 all the way to like 60. When he gets super frustrated and it builds up, and it gets even faster. I think around here it would have been, personally for me, you don't have to do this, but I'm just thinking out loud. It would have been like all that stuff you're doing around here. It's a lot of cool mechanics happening, and even the sliding. I actually think your mechanics are pretty cool. Like the stuff you've done is quite difficult. Me personally, I would have started. Yeah, he's doing all this kind of stuff. Soon as this guy jumps up, maybe you could have him go, what was that? Rather than going back into this kind of tired, which is fine, but it just means now that you're there doing this again. That's fine again. All this part is fine. I would maybe like, once he goes into this hyperbolic stabbing the ground to hit that thing, from there maybe like find maybe like that little thing jumps on his foot, and then this happens like over here. So frame, and then he goes jumps on his foot, and then we're like, ow, bang. So we skip all this section over here. Does that make sense? That way it kind of cuts out quite nicely. It's just all this stuff that you've got there is quite a lot. That was more for like storytelling and how to cut the shot up. So let me look at this in sections. Let's try 100 frame at a time. Mario, you're really making me run for my money. It's a lot of work, dude. But well done. There's no way to do this shot in half the time, and you can't convince me otherwise. Just not enough. Yeah, no. What I mean is like, rather than doing 5, 4, 6 frames, let's just say you spent 2 months on this shot. What I would do is, rather than spending 2 months on this amount, if you spent it on 250 frames, 250 frames will be like, you'd be saving 250 frames of time that you spend on the other half. So if this is your shot there, let's say 250, let's say 250 random, and you spend this over 2 months, you're putting an equal amount of time across both, kind of average. But imagine if you spent 2.5 months on just this, you'll be able to like push this one much further than you currently have, which is fine. Yeah, that was kind of like my thinking process. But yeah, it's a lot of work in the space of time you probably end up doing. When your hand's coming down, just keep an eye on spacing, because it slows down as the hand is going. It slows down there, and all of a sudden, pop. I think it would be nice to just you start there, bang, just dunk, dunk. I think that little pause I don't think you need it there. It just makes it feel a little bit clicky, but if it was intentional, like a little pause that you want to do there, then I think you just need to hold it there for a little bit more. But yeah. See how the head is turning left? but the chest is turning right. There. I would maybe hold the head here for a little bit longer because I know you're raising the hand. And then afterwards, after you raise the hand up, and then the hand's going to go this way, you can rotate the head, chest, and hands like all offset one after another for that little area. And for example, you know when you're like, I'm looking at the hips, every time you do this dunk, dunk, you can make those a little bit more sharper. So for example, rather than dunk, dunk, you could, like we can feel that shake in the whole chest and head, just ever so slightly. Dunk, dunk, dunk. It just feels like the motion's happening from here, and it'll be nice to get a bit of like recoil or like vibration from the chest and the head, and slightly from the hips, ever so slightly, just translation from the hips, translation on the hips, but rotation on the head and chest. So if you were to let's see, fair enough, but I wanted to get a story done which needed time, so no, I agree. Yeah, it's just like my personal opinion. Me, I would have been tempted to just keep it short, but I can see like the story really works well based on what you have. So, but that's just the kind of like drawback you have. If you want to do something nice and long, it just means obviously the time you have is based on what you have. So, but that's totally fine. I think it still works. It's just my personal opinion. Cool. So yeah, just breaking up this area over here when he turns around. So for example, when he does go back, I would expect a small little anticipation on the hips just before he leans back. So a small like head down, chest down, hips down, and then back. But ever so like it's not supposed to be boing. It's more of a like just a slight little this. Because at the moment when he goes back, there, I'm just feeling it around here, and it'll be nice to involve the hips as well. Cool. Let's look at this section. At the moment, from here to here, it's kind of happening. I know what you're going for. It's more of a reaching a little bit. That's nice. I think we can still speed up around here. Like start very slow, speed up, and slow down. Even if we're having a creeping up onto something pose, or like really a cautious pose or animation, I think there's room to still play around with the spacing a little bit, just so it doesn't feel that even. So across here, I think all the arcs and stuff that you have is nice. Like, for example, I'm following this. You do that. Around there, it goes a bit straight. I think you can make a bit more of a curve like this. In some bits, it's a little bit sharp, especially when it goes up. So I think you've got room to play around with that there. So just, let's get a bit more of a smoother arc on the hand. Oh, that little coming back is really nice. Huh? There. It'll be nice to have this hand go into this pose with this leaning backwards, like, huh? Like he goes back, and at that point, the hand goes into this pose here. So it's like one motion, it's like, huh? And then you go into this pose. Rather than, oh, the body jumps back, but then on its own, this hand feels like it's moving in isolation a little bit. It might have been something that was in your reference. It's just, I'm just looking for a room to, because the whole body is like not moving right now, and we only have a rotation happening on the hands, just to avoid that isolated movement. Let's check this area. Yeah, I think this is really cool, like when you start to speed up, bang, 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 and you've got multiple keys there as well. Hey Peyton, welcome to the Animation Review Club, where animators show their shots and get feedback. Let me just see what you guys are saying in the chat. How are we doing? If you guys don't mind hitting that like button, I would appreciate it. I think when I say that, you guys are like, nope, you asked for it, we're not going to give you that like. Yeah, if you hit the like, super appreciate it, because it goes out to other people to see this stuff as well. And maybe we'll get their stuff online as well, like to look at their shots as well. But cool, let's continue. Yeah, that whole leaning back and coming back in is super cool. Just be careful. Look how much, when this part of the body is leaning forward, I would expect it to affect the hips. So when the head, chest leans forward, I would expect this guy to start doing this. However, at this point, if you look, he's leaning forward, but the hips are going back. So I would maybe just like have that going forward and ever so slightly, just slight forward, down and back. Yeah, that stuff that you have going on there is pretty cool. For example, when you lean down like this, it's an opportunity to really put this hand up, like use that space. And then when he's coming down, then you can swing the hand from there to this position here now that you have. So if you're leaning, and then when you come down, yep, just the opposite way around. And I think that's this stuff that you have here is really nice. Like this running around there. Just be careful. This is nice. You go through the sand, which is fine because we would naturally go through the sand as well. But if you look at this pose, it's in the ground and then it just goes up. I would expect to stay in this pose and then go into a, so let's just say that's your foot pose, yeah, and then the second pose after that would be something like a foot roll kind of, and then you would go into something like this, you know. But at the moment, just keep an eye on, maybe there might be some like loose keys around there. Maybe you actually have the foot flat, Mario, in your shot. It's just a, you know, in your graph editor, graph editor can be a bit tricky. You've got a key here, you've got a key here. You assume maybe it's doing that, but it's doing something tricky like this, or maybe like woo. So just keep an eye out for that. Small things, this is polishy stuff. And yep, so let's have a bit of a foot roll before you leave there, and be careful there as well. It's kind of like a flat foot doing that. So let's, even if you're sliding, I would expect, you know, a bending happening on here. So a bit more of a foot roll there as well when you slide there. Besides that, all that stuff is nice. Be careful that when you're landing, this is a spacing thing. That's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But then before you hit the ground, you're slowing. I would expect this pose, and then the next one, just have it flat on the ground. Then the next one will be, this is already on the ground and you're bending your foot. So we don't feel like we're going really fast, and then when we're getting close to the ground, we're slowing down. We want to avoid that. We want to feel like quite impactful. All right, let's check towards the end of your shot. Cool, that chuckle's nice. I think the top half would. So you want to basically time. Okay, so what's happening now is the head goes down, the shoulders go up. You want to offset in a way where it's head's going down, shoulders are there. Head continues to go down, shoulders start to come down. Head goes up, shoulders go down. So when the head is finishing where it's going, the shoulders start to come up. So it's like this. Okay, so let's just say this is in twos. So this is the head, that's up, that's down, that's up, that's down. At the moment, your shoulders are doing this. Like the opposite. When the head is at the top, the shoulders are at the bottom. However, I think we need to be a bit more like this. Like it's just, you know, when the head goes up, the shoulders kind of follow a little bit. The head starts to go down, the shoulders are offset, and then it comes back down. So it's just like a little offset that you need to create with these two. At the moment, they're doing this. So if we can just break that up, that'll be nice. And just a little bit on the chest as well. I think you've got a good amount. Let me just see. The up and down should be coming from the head. So when the head goes up, down. Yeah, like for example here, the head goes up, the chest goes up at the same time. So whatever's happening here, there needs to be a delay on the hips. So the head goes up, the hips are still kind of, or the hips or the bottom half of the body is finishing going down, then the head hits his peak, the hips go up. So again, the similar kind of offset with the shoulders, just so it feels like it's a bit of a what's that instrument? It's not xylophone. Is that the you know that kind of like springy kind of feel? So we just need that kind of feeling of this. Let's see what you guys are saying. I actually no, that's fine. It's sometimes it's really useful, Mario, to have someone else just take a look, even if it's like an animator or a student friend, and it's like, what? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't see that, dude, because you've been working on this for a long time, so it can become a little bit, like that. Okay, cool. Let's see the last part of your shot. I think this part of the shot here, this part, 4 to around this area, once you lean forward, there, it becomes a little bit floaty, and this is really difficult in animation, just to keep your character alive without doing anything. So I would just try to do like a basic up and down on the hips in the graph editor, then basically with the chest just offset that. So you're just doing this kind of like, if you look at me, it's not like games animation where the character's like, seaweed floaty kind of. You don't want that feeling. But just to keep it alive, we want to up and down on the hips, we want to up and down on the chest, or like rotation, and then you want to offset the head on that as well, just to keep, you can still have the same animation, like keeping alive looking here. It just goes into this little area of like floatiness. So if I play this, there, it just, whoop, I'm there and I'm waiting for the next pose. That's kind of like what I'm getting. So if we can take a look at that area, so just make it less floaty, that would be awesome. Just similar to what you have in your other shots, other areas of your shots. Yeah, and my final thing would be, I like what you've done over here. I'm not going to get into that. I'm kind of trying to point out the main areas that we have. All this jumping around stuff is cool. Obviously, if I had more time with you, I'd give more notes. But the only thing that stands out is after you do this, like, can you let me know in the chat what happens to his feet? Because from when I'm watching this, he's, trying to get the can from the sea. The crab dodges. Then he's trying to catch the crab, which is cool and fun. The crab and him is having like this tango, like, back and forth. Then he catches the can. And then, is that supposed to be like you're not finished with the animation? The crab like snaps at his feet or foot. Let's do a Frodo foot. Is it supposed to like snap at his foot, but you never got around to doing it? Because I'm not sure what's happening there when he goes, ooh. Can you let me know in the chat, Mario? That'd be great. Okay, besides that, the only thing I'd say here is, once you hit this, once you go snap, I would just drop the hands and then like really try to bring the legs down quick, because you just lose a bit of energy there. Like, you can get into this pose much quicker. I would say you can get into that pose, splat. You hit your head, that double bounce is nice. When you hit the floor, you go up and then you come back down straight into this. I don't think we need to keep your legs in mid-air, hold them and bring them down. I think you could just like whoosh, go there and back down into this final pose, and that will make it feel much more impactful. Cool. That's kind of what I have for you, man. It's looking good. Keep going, and yeah, keep updating your shot. I think there's room to polish as well. You've got a good level in there so far, and yeah, I look forward to seeing how much you progress this. So hopefully, yeah. So what would you say? He wants the can, chases the crab, gets the can. Crab wants revenge and pinches him. Yeah. No, I guessed as much, but that's, yeah. Okay, awesome. That's awesome stuff, man. Yeah, like I said, it's looking good. Keep going, and yeah, thank you for sharing your shot for the review. I appreciate that. Cool. Keep going, man. Cool. We'll move on to the next shot. Let's see who we have. Let's put a smiley face. Thank you, Mario. Let's go to the next person. We have Ross. Awesome. Hey, Ross. How you doing? You're right. Let's see if you're in the chat, hopefully. Let's take a look at your shot while you're here, hopefully. We can take a look together. Alright, I'm going to get started. Cool. So let's take a look at Ross's shot. Cowboy comes in, kicks that, turns around, goes up, dodges, comes back. Cool, there we see. I see Ross in the chat. Hey Ross. Oh, you guys are chit-chatting, okay. Yeah, oh, you're welcome, Mario, no worries. Yeah, hopefully we can take a look at another one of your shots another time as well. So, Ross, we're looking at your shot, so feel free to shoot some questions. Kick, sway, turn around, dodge, go back, smack. Oh, it's looking really cool, man. I mean, this shot is familiar to me. So it's nice to see how far it's come along. Cool, let's take a look. Let's break this down. Just before that, just a quick water break. Alright, bang. So let's take a look at the first 100. Now let's divide it into 3 sections. Cool. So we start your shot feedback. Bang. That whole swaying with the body, like when you kick and then the body goes this way, and then as you land, the body's still like, the offset is continuing as he's moving along. That's really nice. And then once he steps over here, he comes into like the foreground where we are. The body moves, shifts over here, and then sways back and forward. That I think is working really well. And I do have a good level, like I feel like a good level of weight there as well. When you do kick, if you look at the hips come down. See when the foot lands, I would expect the hips to come down a little bit more. It kind of feels like it's staying around this area. So I think you've got room to, maybe in your graph editor you've got this, like that, it's very small. I think there's room there to just like whoosh, and do something like this. Whoops. Like really push down, push up, like this. Bang, down, up. Yeah, even around here. So if you look at your hips going down and up, that's nice, but it feels very subtle, which is cool. I think you can just do something a bit more like this. You know, just to push what you have. Not over the top, just a little bit more. Just a reference. Yeah, I saw that one, Ross. I saw your version with the prop as well, but I think I really like the reference because I want to show your cool acting to the world, so they're jealous. And yeah, I mean it's the same animation, right? Because I didn't see the versions being different in terms of animation. I know, like the one you have with the set is really cool, but for me it's mainly like just this time. I like the fact that you have the reference here. Yeah, and even when you go, see when your hand around here, we miss your hand, it goes behind you. It's still following a path. It's doing this. So it's doing this and coming back up. Whereas when we do this, you go back, forward, and your hands forward. So I would just like push this hand into the background and make sure when you are going like from this angle, from like where we're looking at towards your animation, the arcs you're creating are like this, and then you come back up, just like here. So one thing, let's push the hand towards the background. When you lean forward, your hand's going back there, and then as you stand still, your hand starts to come into the foreground. So let's apply that there. That'll be great. Let's look at the hands. I think you've got a nice level of animation on the hands over here. Small little, I think there's small little stuff that we can fix on the arc, but nothing. You kind of get around here a bit too quickly. Over here, if you see where your hand is, it's just where your hips are. There, I think you're good around here. You're not too far off from what you have with the hand. But at this point, your hand is here, and we've gone too far ahead. if you want to go, you do that move a bit quickly, that's fine. It's just we hit a wall and we stay in that pose for a while and then we come out a bit later. That's one thing. And number two, let's be careful with this hand going from this pose. One, that's fine. Click. I would have it maybe a little bit more gradual. Yeah, like over here, the hand goes up a little bit. So just track the arcs over here. But I think it's looking good. Yep. So let's take a look at this area. Yeah, I think that whole head turn whoosh, and then back is feeling really good, because it really does give the sense of oh, I heard you threw something, and because I know in your shot like he's dodging stuff right all around, which is real nice, and that really gives me a sense of fear, frightenment, or like he's really scared. I can really feel that from the shot. Let's see what you're saying. Same animation was just answering Mario's question about adding props. I was going to ask if the arc in the screen left was too short towards the end. Let's see. Oh, you mean like around here? This bit here? There. I think over here it becomes a little bit linear. Like you go up, 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 and then you just go, yeah. You do this, and then you go there. That bit is a bit sharp. We still need to create that nice curve. So that's kind of what I would focus. The overall animation, one thing that stands out to me is look when your head turns left. There, the chest turns as well, which is nice. It's kind of just happening at the same time. Delay this, have that happen, but delay this, because look, they're both moving at the same time, and you want the head to be moving first, the chest to follow. It's only like 1 or 2 frames, just offset. You can either offset by like pulling the keys, which I don't recommend, or you could just go into the graph editor and reduce the amount of rotation you have to almost 0. That's one. And number two is, look when the head turns. The whole body, like when the head turns this way, I expect this guy, especially this bit, to rotate as well. Look at that. Whereas in your blocking, it's kind of locked. We're just rotating this way. So the chest needs to rotate just like in your reference. So if you can apply that, that'll be amazing. This bit is, the timing is a bit, just be careful, that screen right hand, it's still, and then all of a sudden over 1 frame, pop. We need to make sure that we don't have very big spacing over 1 frame. So I would maybe on 115 have this hand, if it's here, have it there, like start to, you can still have big spacing, but just make it seem like it's starting to move and accelerate rather than I'm here, pop, you know? I'm exaggerating obviously, but yeah, that's kind of the idea. That whole crouching, I like. Let's see what you guys are saying. What? You guys are smashing the like button. What? True animators. That's forcing me to do more animation videos. You guys are putting me in a bit of a pinch. Cool. Alright, let's see. Cool, yeah. Alright, any questions about that, Ross? Just let me know. And if you guys have if you guys have any questions about another one of the animators shots that you saw that you had a question, leave that towards the very end, and then we'll get through that. That way we'll give a chance for the animator who is having their shots on review to just like have the full limelight. Cool. This whole like coming down, hiding, looking up, whoa, all that is feeling good. Oh, the tiptoeing has definitely improved, and like I do like the whole tiptoeing backwards. I'm looking at the hips, and you have that like rotate Z happening, which is really cool. And the amounts your character's going back is working well as well. Be careful around here. There, it goes back, pops all of a sudden. There, and then it goes forward. Your foot goes back, and then it goes forward over 1 frame. So make sure that your foot is always going backwards. Maybe it's so that over 1 frame, there you've gone back too much. So you don't want something like this happening. So whenever you see like a pop on the kneecap or the elbows, it's telling you there's a big change in translation or rotation happening. So here, even there, you go up. Around here, I would expect you to go back, but it seems like the kneecap's in the same place. And over 1 frame, you pop up. So maybe like frame 184, I would raise the foot up. So then on 185, it doesn't feel like over one frame just pops up. So stuff for like that, stuff for that. And I think the upper body is doing a decent amount of stuff. I think you can get a bit more on the head, like a bit more of a what you have exactly on the body. Think of it like a caterpillar, or like a very snake-like jiggling happening from the shoulders all the way down to the hips. I think we can add a bit more on the head just to help with that. Cool. And last but not least, let's see this section here. When he gets hit, let's see that. I think when he gets hit, I definitely feel the impact. Bang. I just think you need to keep the hands and arms still. At the moment, it's the body goes very limb. Bang, which is cool, what you want. But then the hands are doing this. It's a bit too... Yeah, there. Look. He gets hit. Bang. I think you just need to stay in this pose. 200. Yeah, like it's too much motion and too much overlap. You wouldn't have overlap. You'll just be very... Ding. That little shake is very, very small, and it needs to just, you need to just feel it rather than see it. That when you do overlaps on the hands and the wrists, it makes it feel quite smooth, and that's fine for the whole shot, except this area, we want this to feel quite stiff. I would even go as far to say just hold the pose. Just hold the pose and very, very microscopically just 1, 2, 3 and leave it there. I think the full down is great. I would just be tempted to bang, like towards the end, around here. 221 to 230. Let's take off some more frames around there just to make this just maybe 3 frames, 4 frames, just see what it looks like. I think you've got like maybe 2 frames. It's very close. And the one last thing I'd say is your hands wouldn't fall flat like from this to this. Once your hands do hit the ground, you might just want to have a bit of a bang, like it bounces off the ground. But when I mean it bounces off, it's very, very not VFX-y, what's the word? It's not very cartoony. You just want it to feel like it's impacted the ground and it just bounces up a little bit to come back down again. It's more noisy, if anything. Hopefully that makes sense. Foot roll, he's here, and I can say let's go. There's a small foot. Let's see. No, that's fine. But if you want to go for a thing where he's in a... I think you can just keep it like flat-footed. I don't think you need to go for a foot roll. Yeah, like when you land there, when he gets hit, bang. Just keep the legs straight, because that way it's going to help with the character looking more straight throughout the whole body. That whole foot roll going up and down like adds to the looseness of the character, and we want to keep him quite stiff. But yeah, that's it. I think it's looking good, Ross. I think you've got like some really nice stuff in there, obviously. It's just some polishy stuff that we need to improve on, and like just some small offsets, arcs, and I think the biggest part I would say for you to fix is this part where he's falling down. This bit here is a tricky shot, like tricky moment in body mechanics that you've managed to do pretty well as well. And yeah, cool. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Keep going and keep improving your shot. I think it's looking good. Yeah, keep up, man. Awesome stuff. No, Red is very angry. Let's do this. There we go. Nice stuff. Cool. Let's keep moving. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate that. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, cool. Definitely keep improving, and like it's definitely improved. Like I did some like really good work there. So keep it up. Okay, next we have Jack. Hello, Jack. How are you? Yeah, you're welcome. Cool. let's see. Is Jack in the chat? And I'm not like playing pun on words. So I have your shot, Jack. So hopefully you're around. So if you could just drop a little message into the chat so I know you're there. And this is Jack's shot. Jack has a cycle for us, guys. Oh, awesome! There you are, Jack. How you doing? Let's. I'm gonna put an emoji every time. I should have done this. I'm gonna put an emoji every time one of the animators comes into the chat. Well, or lets me know that they're there. That's for Jack. This one was for Mario. And this one, let's pick a cool one. This one was for Ross. Cool, alright. You guys let me know which emoji you like the most. Good, thank you, Justin. Oh, cool. So you're joining in from like, not from home. Cool, well, let's take a look at your shot. Cool, so these emojis are for you guys. Each one of you has a different one. Alright, so let's take a look at your shot. So you have a witch's walking cycle. Let's put this on loop. Cool. What I would recommend next time, Jack, is if you want to show me a cycle, this is amazing. It would be nice to have the same character from the side. You know, so I can see her walking from the side, what her arms are doing, like this. It's not a great drawing, but you get the idea. So it would be nice to have front, side, back, and 3/4 maybe, and yeah, that's going to really help. But we can definitely like work with what we have. Let's see what you think of me. It's definitely great things. It's definitely great things, Ross. Cool, alright, so let's look at the first pose. Let's break this down. So when I look at her, I see this, I see that from the body. That's what her hips are doing. And I'm looking at the chest, it's doing something like this. Her head is there, so it's a bit more like that. Whoops. I'm seeing this. Well, I can't draw. It's weird drawing on a Wacom and looking at the screen. I'm so used to just doing this on like an iPad. Cool. So I think immediately what I'm seeing is the bottom half of the body looks good. Even though she looks pretty upright, I would say there's areas that we can actually push in terms of the poses. So if you can't see what's happening, always like scrub through. So I'm looking at her shoulder area, and she's going from like this downwards to this. That pose there, I think you can push much more. So okay, first things first, I want to grab the poses where you actually have the animation in. So there, 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 there. Just so I can focus on the poses that you've actually done. Okay, cool. So how many poses do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 poses. Awesome. It's more of a walk stop than a cycle, but definitely add a cycle. Yeah, awesome. Just reading what you guys are saying. Do you record this review? Oh, so basically like Ilham, if that, hopefully I got said your name correctly. So basically like this do you mean like this live stream, Ilham, or do you mean these sync sketches in like the drawings? Like, can you use or look at the drawings afterwards? Is that what you're saying, referring to? Is it the live stream or is it the sketches that I'm doing? If you can let me know. Because the live stream is going to be recorded, so you can always like go back to the live stream and watch the live stream again once it's finished. So it's always going to be there, so you can see all the notes that you have from here. Cool. Okay, cool. So we've got your poses, and we can go in there and start to get this close. And one more thing, Jack, she's all the way here, and she's quite small. in terms of size, not because her height, but like we can increase her and bring her all the way here, close to our character as well, because we got all this like dead space, negative space. So that way I can see her and the character that we have at the same time, just to make use of our space. Okay, cool. So when I look at her hand to her shoulders, it's slightly inwards. This is slightly outwards. I know you have to deal with her body slightly different to this guy, to the reference, but if we take a look, just to keep track of some of the poses, see how she's doing this, and it's there, and her hand is kind of like slightly over here. I think we can get her hand close, like think of it this way, like your hand is almost touching your thigh, so you can really bring this hand a bit more closer to her. See how close that is? It's almost, it's actually touching, like her fingertips probably is touching. You can do that, and also look at this. This is pretty straight, I can see from her, it's not too far off, but I think you can push that a bit more, just a little bit more. You want to always avoid having the neutral straight head pose. And over here I would have her fingers around her hips, like. And your thumb would be around in the background, like this, around the thighs. At the moment you're kind of, where is it? You can really push this a bit more inside. Like I would expect the base of your hand to be closer to the thigh. So I think we can get that in there a bit more. See how much of a foot roll you have? I can see the bottom of your feet. I can't see the bottom of your feet there. It's quite low. So we can raise the foot roll as well. And look at her head. It's slightly angled. You have it ever so slightly, but I think you can push to have a bit more of an angle there. There. Use the neck as well a little bit. So that's the first one. Let's go here. I think you're doing it's definitely working better here. But before I think what you're doing here, just correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, you're raising the shoulders or rotating them. I would just work with the chest first, because I'm looking at these lines and this part of her body, like this section, it feels almost straightish, and it feels like you've raised this and reduced this. So if you have rotated the body that way, great. If you haven't, I would recommend to do so. Then raise the shoulders up, because I feel like you can get a bit more of a rotation here, like that. It just feels like this bit feels rotated, but why isn't her body leaning this way a bit more, you know? That's what I'm looking for. That's one. And number two, look at the way her hand is touching her hips, her thighs, sorry, compared to this one here. This feels like a neutral pose, whereas this feels like, you know, your one feels a bit like this, whereas her one feels like, you know, she's really putting the pressure onto her thigh. So I think we can really get that pose in there. Also, look at this. That's the center of her hips. So when you really break it down, you see there's quite a few things happening. So that's the center. Look at that. Her foot is past the center that way. I think we've got room to keep pushing. You are doing that, but look at this angle she's got. So I think you've got room to push this foot a bit more screen left. Because usually when it's like a catwalk, generally the ladies just push their like feet left and right, so the hips are really moving a lot or rotating. It's more of a walk to stop. No motion. For some reason, I'll touch the chest more before shoulders. Yep, awesome. Because what happens is, if you were to move the shoulders, guys, first, if you move the shoulders first, it's a little bit deceiving. If I, for example, you look at me and I go this, it looks like my chest is rotated, right? But actually, it's not. It's flat. Whereas if I do this and then do that, I'm layering the chest, the shoulders on top of the chest, because this guy moves first, these move second, this moves third, this moves fourth, this moves fifth. If I do something with these guys, and then I have to animate this afterwards, the chest, which is the base, it's going to affect everything else. So you always want to start from the chest outwards. All right, cool. Let's keep moving. Cool. So we could keep doing this forever. Okay, so let's look at that. So whenever I can't see what's happening, I always scroll back. Okay. Yep, so you're doing the left turn. That's great. That's cool. If you look at this little line, the window lines, the framing, it shows me that her body's moving this way. There. So if I look at yours, it's kind of rotating on the spot. So when she brings her leg up, this hip should be moving that way, or starting to move that way. So it's a mixture of rotation, which what you have, but at the same time, the hips are going this way, going that way, going this way, like in terms of translation. So let's apply that little left and right motion to the hips. And was this deliberate, like you deliberately chose to have the hand out rather than inwards? Is that more of an artistic thing that you chose? Because her hand is doing this. You know, something like that. If it was specific to get out of the way so you can actually see it, that's pretty cool. Let's pull out a little bit more. Cool. Again, if you look at the hands around here, which is, this is a frame where you have the poke keys, see how like this, if the chest is rotated towards us, let me show you. If the chest is doing this, like it's rotated this way, left, the shoulder would be coming forward, and because the shoulder's coming forward, look at that angle that we have there on the hand. So let's zoom in and look at the hand. It's almost, well, it's doing this, right? See that? There. We have it in the background, so you need to start rotating that, the base, towards us, to the camera. Make sense, Jack? Cool, let's keep going. Over here, she looks quite flat to us, whereas if you look at her chest around here, look how much she's rotated. I would be tempted to rotate her chest much more screen right. Like, just be off midway. That's one. And number two, as much as you can, have that rotation there, and as much as you can, have that rotation there. Because this is what's happening. I'm always exaggerating with the sketches, but this, even though it's subtle, this is the kind of rotations we need to add in there. And again, feel free to look at her foot. Her toe is above her ankle. Toe, ankle. So there's room to increase this foot up. And again, let's continue with that new hand pose that we're going to add in there. Cool. And her hand is not like this. It's kind of going to the background. I know you have that a bit, but I think we can do a bit more, you know, like just rotate that hand backwards so there's a bit of like foreshortening happening, like into the background. Let's see. That's cool. See how this leg is starting to go in front of this one? Don't be afraid to do this. Like, start putting that leg a bit more forward, like, you know, ever so slightly. Not too much. I've gone a bit too much there, but don't be afraid of doing that. And don't forget, whichever leg is going forward, the hips are going to be rotating that way. Your kind of, this is central. I can't draw a straight line. That's quite central, but the hips are looking that way. So this means the hips need to start rotating screen right, because this leg is coming forward. That side of the body will always start rotating. When this leg is forward, this hip will rotate that way. Cool. And final sketch, or like drawing, don't be afraid to lose this hand in the background. And I'll do I'll do a detailed drawing for you for this. And just, you're barely seeing enough of that there. You know? It's fine to, like, you don't have to keep the hand out because this feels like it feels forced a little bit there. Like, it feels angled, whereas this feels really loose. And if I was to even go ahead and look at her, she's doing this. It's like her body's doing this. You know? We are quite upright. So I think you can definitely push these guys. So get the hips to do this. Get the chest to do that. And immediately you've got this. Cool? Make sense? I hope so. Cool. All right. Thanks, Jack. That was a nice and different kind of shot to look at. So it's really nice to see that. No, you're welcome. I'm trying to make the silhouette better. I'll touch the chest with shoulders, motioning. Thanks, Walter. Always appreciate feedback. No, you're welcome. Definitely. Like, look, it's looking good. I think you just need to work on the kind of notes I gave you. Keep pushing, and don't be afraid to push. And one last thing is, for a walk cycle, I would need to see, like, you got key on frame 43, and then you have something on 55. That's a good 12 frames of no keys. This is like, it's a cat walk. It's not like a standard walk that she's doing, but still, you would need something on like 2 frames, every 2-3 frames, something like this, you know? So, yeah. So more frames, more keys, but obviously you're working with the key poses right now, so, yep. Keep going, man. Looking awesome. Last but not least, we have Peyton. Hey Peyton, can you give a little message in the chat so I know you're here? Because we don't want you to miss your feedback. I hope you're here. Cool. Alright, I'm going to get started. So hopefully you're there and you're not missing the feedback. There might be a bit of a lag from what I'm seeing and what you guys are seeing, so yeah. Peyton. Yep, cool. Alright. So let's get started. Let's see Peyton's shot. Let's start. See what Jack is saying. Yeah, I'll start adding more in between. Yep, no, you're welcome. Keep going. Alright, so let's take a look at Peyton's shot and then we're good to go. Ah, fairy. Fun shot. How dare this flower stop me from my path? Hold on. I think, just so you guys know, I think this is what is going on. Let's see. If you guys take a look at the chat. If I can get this to work first, and then I'll do it. Well, it just reminded me of, like, it feels like the flower's doing this. It feels like that's what the flower's saying. You shall not pass. Like Gandalf. I just found that really funny. Yeah. Cool. I was gonna do some like emojis and gifs and stuff, but like, yeah, I'll leave that for you guys. Put like flowers and a wizard together, like that little wizard emoji with a flower. You shall not pass. This is not a dandelion, it's a Gandelion. Gandalf flower. Cool, alright, look, so I think this is super cool. The idea is nice, you know, we've got a fairy, or a pixie, walking, reading her book, doing her magic and spells, bang, she hits this flower. What the? Who on earth are you? And then she goes, okay, I need to deal with this how I want my way of dealing with it. And at the end, let me know, Peyton, is she getting scared of the flower or has some sort of regret? Because she didn't expect to, you know, she wanted to move the flower, but she didn't want to destroy it. There seems to be some sort of like unresolved emotional feelings at the end, like, oh my god. Cool, let's jump into animation. So I think that whole walking and bumping in there, the mechanics, I'm looking at the hips. You have a nice level of walk, bang. I do think going back feels very slow around here. What you can do is come out of this, if you've hit something, I would expect ding 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 ding. You'll come back faster. Like, it will be more like this. If that's where your pose is and that's where you end up, you'll start slow. No, it'll be the opposite, sorry. You'll start fast and then you'll slow down. So the moment after you've hit the wall or like the flower, you'll get pushed back quickly this way, and then it'll be ding 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 ding. Like, you'll slow down as you're going back because you'll start to regain your speed in terms of like you being pushed back. But that whole like walking towards here, I think that's working well. Let's see the feet. Just be careful, this back foot here, I'm keeping an eye on there. It seems to sink into the ground a little bit around here. Just keep an eye, you don't have some weird floating frames. And this foot here as well, when your foot is going forward, it goes forward and then all of a sudden it goes down. You would always expect the foot to be traveling forward. So if that's what's happening there, you maybe, that's fine, this pose is fine, that's fine. See what's happening? There, 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 and then you go down, down. It's that little section. There, see what's happening? We're doing this. And it'll be nice to get this kind of an arc, rather than that. Cool. That's some like small little stuff there. And you see how when you're stretching here, you need to keep rotating the hips, because when this leg is forward, because you can see it's hyper stretching. If you rotate the hips, naturally the foot is going to be like this, because you've got more room to, avoid the foot being super straight. But you have it over here when you have the right leg going forward. Look, you have the hips rotating this way, great. But on the other side, there, it kind of slows down and stops here. Cool. Do we have Peyton in the chat? No, is she not around? Let's see. Nope. Well, I'll still give her a review. She'll get to see this. Okay, so when you do get hit, when you're walking, bang, I think it'll be nice to get some sort of a, because you gradually go into the, you're walking, 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 bang. It'll be nice to continue this face expression, keep going, keep going, keep going, squash. And then afterwards, I wouldn't like move the head away so quickly. I would keep the head around there and then pop it back over a couple frames, so you get to stay in this like moment where you smack into the flower for a little bit longer, so it's more of a boing, so we get a moment to like really push that out. So yeah, keep an eye on this leg over here. We all of a sudden go into a lock pose, so you're there, over there. That tells me the spacing and the rotation over there is a little bit too big. All of a sudden over one frame, pop. Cool, let's take a look at this area. I think that the part where you control, like regain and balance yourself there, that whole looking up, it feels very even, like looking up, down, up. I think what we can do is, if it's because you're trying to look at the book, I think you can do that mainly with the head. So like a sharper movement to the book, looking down towards the book, stay there for a bit, and a sharper movement looking up. At the moment it's a bit more of a look up, look down, look up. So you want that to be a bit more intentional, so I would just straight sharp, look at the book, stay there, and then look back up. Just spend less time looking up and down, and make that a bit more sharper. Yeah, I think if you look at that screen left hand, or sorry, screen right hand, it's difficult to keep the hand alive with IK, I know, but when she leans back there, I would expect the hand to still continue going screen right. Not a lot, just a little bit. Continue going screen right and slow down and then start to come back again around here and stop. At the moment I think it stops a little bit too early, which makes it feel a little bit disconnected, and I think we could just like do some overshooting and overlapping on that hand to help that. But I think that little motion you're doing where she's angry feels good. There's little areas to fix there, but I think for the most part I think it's looking good. Let's see. When she goes up, it would be nice to add like a little blink, because I think throughout the whole shot, that's what one blink she has, and then she has open eyes for a long time, except here. So I think there's room to, when she does this, blink, and then she goes back up. So around here maybe. Oh my god. Even I can't read that. Cool, let's add a blink there. And when you do look down, make sure you have the head follow as well. At the moment she's looking one direction, and you want to make sure like the head drags afterwards and rotates in the direction that you're looking at. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. And across here as well, just keep a track of the elbow. There's a few clicks and pops. That just means you need to watch out for the arcs of the hand. Okay, I want to see a bit more of that area to see what's happening. I think what's happening is you go into that pose and then you come out of it straight away. What you need to do is, we need to stay here for a split second, because you go, next move. It'll be nice to have, just a beat of a pause there. I don't want to extend your shot though, that's the thing. It just feels like it needs a bit of a beat. And one last thing, when you lean forward and you just like exhale, I would expect your body to overall go down. Not a lot, but just the hips at least. And we don't really have any up and down on the hips around there, so it'd be nice to add that as well. Especially when she inhales, the hips go up, and then when she exhales, the hips go down. Yep, at the moment it's kind of like locked here. Cool, I think that's that. If we add that there, it's going to feel like it's going to add on to what you have already. When you're going back, it's great, but then you hit this wall here. So it doesn't mean you need to keep going back all the way here, but if I do this, it'll be nice to just push through and then come back in again and slow down here. So it doesn't feel like I've hit my, it doesn't feel like you've pushed yourself to your limit and you can't go any further and you stay there and then you move forward. Just keep pushing a little bit more. It's just have like a moving hold, ease in. So your translation backwards in your graph editor will be like this. I'm going back, and then you stop and then you come forward. However, it'll be nice to have something like this. There. That little area there is going to help your character feel alive when you're going back. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It just needs to feel like this area. She's filling that area. And then even when you're going up, maybe just like push through with your arcs and come back. It feels sometimes a little bit linear. And we can just add some curves in there for your arcs to feel a bit more stronger. Cool. Do we have Peyton if she had any questions? No? Alright. I think that's going to be it. Let me just take one last look before I wrap up with this, guys. She comes in, bang. Huh? Yeah, just overall, like the eyes, let's just have them a bit more with intent. So rather than I'm looking up, I'm looking down, it's more of a just a little bit more sharper, to get from like looking up here to looking down here with a bit more intent. That's going to really help. And when you move the eyes a frame or two later, if you follow the head, that's going to really add on to what you already have. And let's add some blinks. Her eye's going to dry. I know she really wants to look at this "you shall not pass" flower, but she wants to pass. Cool. Alright guys, so just before we wrap up like the final bits, did you guys have any animation related questions, any last questions on your shot that I can answer before we wrap up? Just let me know in the chat, and you shall pass. Let's see if anyone is messaging. It's Q&A time. Oh, and let me know if there's any kind of like any, what do you call it? Is there any live streams you guys would like me to do? Any specific principles for me to kind of like do demos or videos on? Let me know in the chat, in the comments, and I will definitely take a look at that. No questions here. Excited to jump back into my shot. Oh, awesome, nice. That's great to hear. Yeah, you know what? Like when I'm animating, and I know it's going to hopefully benefit you guys as well, I'm much more excited about doing those shots on live streams. And part of me is a bit like, don't crash, please don't crash. Which is fun to watch for you guys, I'm guessing, but like it's painful for me. But yeah, if you haven't hit the like, please hit the like, share the video with anyone you think might be interested, and we get more animator people on this channel. But in the meantime, yeah, keep pushing, guys. Let me know when is the next live stream. Oh, good question, Ilham. So I did like a marathon of free body mechanics masterclasses, and I've pretty much got maybe the blocking out the way. Maybe I need to do a detail pass. I will do the next live stream. I want to do this week as like a big chunk of live stream pushes. So today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, right? Let's check. Today's Wednesday. So I'm going to do Body Mechanics Masterclass Part 4 tomorrow. And it will literally be going through the whole shot blocking that I've done and filling up all those empty gaps that I wanted to fill and putting extra details. So tomorrow, London, UK time, 7 PM, is going to be the Body Mechanics Masterclass Part 4. It's basically a 100 frame shot of blocking that I've done. And I think it's going to be, I've done it in a total of 3 hours, and if I spend tomorrow as well, 4 hours. So you can see you can get 100 frames done, 100 frames of like blocking done maybe in half a day, and spend the rest of the day maybe starting to spline. Spline takes longer than that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So yeah, next stream for animation blocking, where you see me animate, is tomorrow 7 PM London time. So put the notification on, it will remind you. If not, you know what time it is. Let's see what Ross says. I always want to see more examples of smear frames and such. That's one. Okay, that's cool. So maybe like, okay, maybe I could have a demo where I just do like a basic animation of a character maybe doing a punch. I mean, I already have that now, don't I? Okay, so the animation that I have with Jackie is super fast in the body mechanics stream. So Jackie Chan is the reference that I'm using, guys, for the reference of the fighting, and I'm using a Ninja Turtle for the rig to animate with. Some of the frames are super fast, so I'll take a look tomorrow and you can see with me if there's any, because smear frames only need to be for like 1 or 2 frames. Maybe I might mix in what Ross just mentioned, and I might add a smear frame in one of those punches. And smear frames can be with like multiple limbs, or you can even draw little blurs. Smear frames is basically blur frame. Like smear frames is motion blur. That's what it is. It's when, even in films, when a character's over here and he or she moves there very quickly, big space, there's a bit of a blur in between for your eyes to read. So yeah, so tomorrow tune in at 7 PM London time, London UK time, and I'll be finishing the. I think the blocking's finished anyway. So actually, while you guys are here, let me just show. If you haven't seen it, no, not this. Where is it? So let's just take a look. Is it here? Anyway, I'll pick up where I left off tomorrow. But tomorrow, let's continue with the blocking. Like I said, I want to do this whole week as like a marathon of like streams just to get the blocking out of the way. So tomorrow I'll see you guys at 7 p.m. Is there any other questions? Can you do something about dynamic poses and creating interesting poses? I feel it would be a great learning topic. Okay, what I could do is I could do maybe 3 or 4 poses, just poses off a reference, just to get very dynamic poses. Or do you mean like Hotel Transylvania kind of stuff, like very pushed, or what do you mean by that, Mario? Because if it's like super cartoony push stuff, that's fine, we can do that. Yeah, I could definitely look into doing that as well. Cool, guys. I think yeah, and any other stuff that's you kind of like comes to mind, what you thought about the stream, if you like this animation review, if you like me to do more of this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments, because the comments, if I miss stuff on the chat now, I can always come back to the comments and reply back. And if there's any kind of stuff that you would like, can you just like request it in the comments section? That would be awesome. But thank you for tuning in, and yeah, we go again tomorrow. Like, we'll keep this up, and I'll try to give you guys as much as you can. Yeah, I mean general tips on how to get posts to look more interesting. Yep, no worries, we can definitely do that. And even if you look at my posing for animators demo that I did, one half was a lecture, the second half was a pose, just to get like a neutral pose. There's a lot of stuff in there that you can take to apply to just poses in general. But I can definitely have a session with just posing characters as well, so no worries, that sounds good. Alright guys, awesome. So enjoy your evening, and hope this was useful and you enjoyed it. If you like more, you know, hit the like, show some love, put some comments,